I reached the platform later than I meant to. The clock says a time I don't feel, and the rain finds the seams in the roof and taps a rhythm on the bench beside me. There aren't many of us. A couple by the pillar, a man with a suitcase that looks older than he is, and me, hands in my pockets, watching the blank space on the board where the destination should be. A chime tries to be bright and can't quite manage it. The PA breathes out 2 words I don't catch and falls back into its own static. No one asks anyone else where they're going. It's too late for that kind of talk. Across the tracks, a strip of light slides along a wall and vanishes. The rails sing softly to themselves. Somewhere behind me, a door closes with the careful click of someone who doesn't want to be heard leaving. The train arrives like it already belonged to the night and just remembered to appear. The windows are warm and quiet. The doors open without a fuss. No crowd, no rush. Only the soft, large breath of a machine that knows how to move in the dark. I stand for a moment and do the little ceremony I always do. Wallet, phone, keys. Then step forward. The floor under the canopy is slick, the kind of wet that stores the day's footprints and keeps them for itself. I put my hand on the cold rail, feel the tiny vibration of waiting, and climb in. The door closes behind me like a held breath. Air warmer than I expected folds around my face and stays there. It smells faintly of dust and coffee, the soft, polite tiredness of a place that sees more night than day. I glance back through the glass. The platform is already a memory with rain on it. The couple by the pillar are looking anywhere but at each other. The suitcase man has disappeared into the space where the station ends and the echo begins. A second chime. Gentle, almost shy. The carriage gives the smallest nod, and we begin to slide. For a few seconds, I feel both places at once. The station holding me by the sleeve, the train taking me by the shoulder and guiding me forward. It's a small, private confusion that ends the way most things do, with motion. The rails gather themselves, the lights above me steady. The windows become windows again instead of mirrors. I choose a seat by habit, 2 from the end, 1 row back from the door. The cushion sighs the way all these cushions sigh, and I let my hands find the shape of the armrests. The rain is just a rumor now, the station a name I didn't read. The night takes its seat beside me and looks out through the glass. A man 2 rows up has already promised himself to sleep. His mouth is open, a small, harmless circle. He breathes like the train breathes, slow and steady, not asking anything from anyone. The lights don't flicker so much as think, a soft hum that gets into the edges of thought and makes everything rounder. The intercom coughs once and fails, the way a person does when they've changed their mind about speaking. I glance at the route map above the door and find only the comfort of indecision. Stickers over old names, a smear where a new one might have been. It's enough to know there's a line, and I'm on it. Outside the window is mostly me over black glass. Every so often a light comes and goes. Once, the reflection of an empty platform glides past like a dream I must have had before I got here. The rails make that soft metronome sound that only belongs to late hours, counting something I don't need to count. I lean my head back and let the ceiling become a kind of sky. There's a good warmth in the air, the kind that doesn't try to fix anything, only keep you from getting cold. A coat rustles softly 2 seats behind me. Somewhere a bag zipper thinks about moving and decides against it. I could close my eyes. I don't. The night is kind in its way, and it feels like an insult not to look at it while it looks at me. The intercom crackles again, a thoughtful little hiss, and then a voice. Next car. 2 words. No hurry. It sounds like a suggestion. It also sounds a little like me, as if my mouth had sent a message ahead and asked the speaker to say it back. I turn my head. No one else reacts. The sleeping man sleeps. The coat behind me decides to be still. In the window, my reflection waits for me to choose between staying and moving. Either way, the rails will keep their rhythm. I wait the length of another breath, and then a second, and stand. The floor is patient under my feet. I touch the back of my seat with my fingers as if to thank it, and step into the aisle. The door between cars receives me with a small, convincing thump. For a moment, I'm between spaces. Gaskets sigh. Air changes its mind. The world narrows to a line and then opens again. This carriage is the same and not. Seats in the same place, lights with the same soft patience, a faint smell of old paper and clean fabric. But here the window drafts just a little, and there's a whisper of wind at the edge of the glass, like a secret that doesn't need to be kept. A woman sits halfway down with a scarf pulled up to the bridge of her nose. Her eyes are closed in that way people's eyes are when they aren't asleep, only asking the world to be a little quieter. She doesn't look up as I pass. I don't ask her to. I choose another window, not because it's better, only because it's new. The view is the black we have agreed on. The reflection is the face I brought with me. And the small moving lights outside are the kind that allow you to believe distance still behaves itself. I try the reading lamp. It hesitates, then decides to be warm. The circle it makes on my lap is enough to be company without asking me to read anything inside it. Somewhere near the coupling, A sequence of rail joints decides to be a rhythm for a while. It's almost music if you don't ask it to be. The ceiling answers with a tone of its own, a low, constant vowel that can be spelled any way you like. The intercom wakes once more, the way a sleeper does when they aren't ready to wake at all. "Next car," the voice says again, a little closer to the way I think when I think alone. It doesn't insist, it doesn't even ask. It simply opens the thought and leaves the door. I breathe slow to see if my chest will match the train. It does. For 10 heartbeats, I'm not sure which of us is carrying the other. The landscape offers a handful of signals, a red blink, a sodium yellow that lets itself be reflected and moves on, a cluster of lights too far away to belong to this night. We cross something high. I don't see the water, but I hear it rearranging darkness below us. At the far end of the car, the wiper clears a rectangle nobody asked for and squeaks like a violin that knows only one note. I think of a station I left once and how I remember it only as a place where the doors were heavier and the floor colder than it needed to be. I don't try to put it on a map. Some things can live as weather and be true enough. The woman with the scarf opens her eyes for the length of an in-breath and closes them again with a permission I can feel from here. I offer her the compliment of keeping my own eyes where they are. The conductor passes, or someone who has chosen to walk like one. We nod to each other because people do that when space is small and kindness is easy. Neither of us asks for anything. After a time that has its own length, I stand. The door to the next car is a small moon with a window in it. I see myself waiting on the other side the way a future sometimes waits. Patient, unsurprised, not in a hurry to be arrived at. My hand finds the handle. It is warmer than I expect, as if the last person who touched it had left a little of their going there for me. The seal inhales, the metal exhales, and I'm in the little bridge between now and next. For a second, I consider going back to the first carriage, to the seat that already knows the shape of my back. The thought is kind, but it doesn't ask to be obeyed. I listen to the rails counting something only the rails understand and step forward. The night on the other side is the same night, which is exactly what I needed it to be. The lights are as soft, the air as made for breathing, the windows as honest as glass can be. If anything has changed, it has done so in the way a room changes when you decide to love it, quietly, by degree, with everyone's consent. I take one more seat by one more window and let the train teach me how to be still in motion. Outside, nothing is in a hurry to be named, and inside, the parts of me that tried to keep the day going find a place to put themselves down. The intercom rests. The lamp holds its circle. The rails keep their promise. I let my eyes learn the shape of this darkness in case it's the same shape later. Ahead, there is another door, and then another after that. I know this without needing to see it. The thought brings a kind of gentle relief, like finding out there is water on the way, and you're not yet thirsty. If I were the sort of person who makes plans at this hour, I might say I'll stay here for 3 stations and then move on. But there aren't any stations yet, not as such, and the part of me that counts things has agreed to sleep in my pocket. I rest my hands palm down, feel a tiny tremor that isn't worry make its way through the bones, and let it keep going until it finds a place more interested in holding it than I am. We pass a signal that blinks its small red eye at us and returns to watching the line. We pass a siding where a single freight car sits with its own moon in its window and chooses not to care. We pass a row of trees that are only trees because there has to be a word. The woman stands, gathers the part of her scarf that kept her quiet, and moves toward the door. She presses the handle and is gone into the space between cars that always sounds like something making up its mind. I stay. The seat knows me now. The lamp has decided I belong inside its circle. When the intercom comes to life again, it doesn't say anything I could write down. It allows a breath, and in that breath, I hear my own voice as if I had just said a thing and forgotten to remember it. There's time left in this night. Enough to learn the length of the hum and the taste of the warm air and the way the window catches a light and lets it go again. Enough to nod back at the darkness when it nods at me. I put my head against the cool of the glass and watch my breath appear and vanish, small weather that promises nothing but its own kindness. The rails, reliable as a heartbeat I don't have to count, carry us forward without asking where forward is. And I let them, and I let them, and I let them. The carriage I've chosen doesn't try to be anything more than what it is. The hum in the walls has found its rhythm, and my breathing has quietly learned it too. The window at my shoulder holds a version of me that's almost convincing. The dark outside listens without interruption. Somewhere, the wheels take a soft turn and straighten again. I rest my forehead against the glass, and it cools my skin the way night air used to when I'd open my window as a child. There's something about the way the train moves that makes memory behave differently, slower and softer, as if it has to buy a ticket too. We pass a strip of orange light that floats along the window for 3 heartbeats before vanishing. I close my eyes for one of those beats and open them again just in time to watch the last sliver of color dissolve into the dark. Everything is quiet, but not empty. It's the kind of quiet that lets you hear your own pulse without asking you to. Somewhere above, a vent releases a sigh like a tired thought. The air smells faintly metallic, the kind of scent that lives in places that were made to last longer than people. The sleeping man in the front row is still there, head tilted, mouth open, just enough to remind me he's real. The scarf woman's seat is empty now, but the way the fabric on the cushion is pressed still tells me where she was. The intercom tries again, a soft pop, then nothing. I don't know why I'm waiting for it to speak. Maybe I'm expecting it to say something that makes sense of the night. Maybe I just like the silence that follows. My hands have gone warm without me noticing. I rub them together quietly, listening to the skin catch and release. It's strange how sound travels differently at this hour, how something so small can seem to fill the air around you. A dim reflection in the glass shows me the corridor between cars. The door's red emergency handle close faintly, a quiet promise that things are as they should be. A little pulse of light, steady, patient, the heartbeat of a machine that knows what it's doing. My seat creaks as I stand. The hum doesn't change, but it listens. I walk down the aisle past the man asleep and the empty scarf seat, my footsteps small and careful, like they've been told a secret they shouldn't share. The handle is cool against my palm, and the air between cars is just a little sharper, thinner, as if it's paying attention. I take one step and then another, and the seal behind me closes with a low, comforting sigh. The dining car is a different kind of quiet, warmer. The lights are lower, honey-colored, and the air smells faintly of coffee and something sweet, maybe bread, or maybe memory pretending to be bread. There are tables against the windows, each with its own soft lamp that makes the glass blush. No one is sitting here, but the chairs are pulled out like someone only just left, and the spoons and napkins are arranged with the gentle insistence of routine. A soft scratch of jazz plays from a speaker somewhere near the ceiling. The music doesn't ask for attention. It just happens to be here with me. I slide into a seat near the middle, where the lamp's light makes a neat circle on the tablecloth. It's warm under my hands. The vibration of the train runs gently through the surface like a pulse you can trust. I look out at the dark again, but here it looks different, softer somehow, as if the world outside has agreed to be held at arm's length for a while. A distant signal light glows against the mist. It's strange how something so far away can feel like it's waiting just for you. The door behind the counter opens with a quiet, almost apologetic sound. A figure steps out, tall, neat, in a uniform that might be real or might just belong to the night. Their movements are careful, practiced, like someone who's been doing this for longer than they've been awake. "Coffee?" the attendant asks. Their voice is low, smooth, almost melodic. It fits here, the way the light fits the table. I nod without thinking, and they pour something dark and quiet into a small cup. The scent reaches me first, bitter and kind all at once. They set the cup down in front of me. Their hand lingers on the handle a second longer than it needs to, as if passing something more than just warmth. Then they nod, as if we've agreed on something we don't need to say out loud. I take the cup in both hands. The heat blooms into my palms. When I lift it to my mouth, the steam brushes my face softly, like a friend who remembers my name. Outside, the world slides past like a thought I haven't had yet. The train hum fills the spaces between my breaths. The jazz in the ceiling makes everything rounder. The attendant moves quietly between tables, straightening things that are already straight, arranging what's already arranged. I can't tell if they're avoiding my eyes or if their gaze is simply somewhere further down the line. "Where are we going?" I ask. I don't know why I ask it. It's the kind of question that doesn't need an answer. They pause, their hand resting lightly on a silver tray. Then they look at me, not sharply, not kindly, but like someone standing in front of a window that shows them something they can't quite explain. "The next car," they say. I nod. I don't ask again. The answer fits the shape of the night. The coffee is good in that way. Warm things are good when everything else is cold. I hold it for longer than I drink it, listening to the train stretch itself across the distance. Each rail joint sounds like a sentence ending. The attendant returns to the counter, though I don't quite remember watching them walk back. They hum something under their breath, something slow, without edges. It might be a lullaby. It might be silence, pretending to be one. I look around the dining car, the lamps, the tables, the jazz, the steam rising from cups that aren't mine. It's all too calm to question, like a memory someone else left behind and forgot to claim. When I finish the coffee, the cup is still warm. I push it gently toward the middle of the table, and the attendant nods from across the room, as if that was part of the plan all along. The door ahead of me is a shape cut out of soft light. It waits without waiting. I stand. The chair whispers against the floor, polite and unbothered. As I pass the counter, the attendant's voice follows, smooth and quiet. "Next car." And just like before, it sounds a little like me, little like me. The observation car feels like the train decided to remember the world outside. The ceiling arches higher here, the windows curve up and over, letting the night lean in a little closer. I can hear the rain somewhere far away, not falling here, but on something we've already passed. The sound of the rails is louder, open, less polite. It spreads into the corners of the space, like a tide that doesn't need permission. I take a slow step forward, and the floor answers me softly, as if it's keeping count. The night beyond the glass isn't black, not really. It's a deep, patient gray that shifts with each light, we pass. Sometimes there's a distant shape, a tree, a ridge, the faint smear of a building. But mostly it's just the quiet agreement between the train and the dark. There are a few empty seats scattered along the car. The lamps over them glow low, steady, as if they're breathing with the rhythm of the wheels. I walk past them and choose one at the far end. The cushion sighs like it remembers other travelers. I lean forward, elbows on the rail, and press my forehead against the glass. The world outside rolls by slowly, even though I know we're moving fast. Somewhere ahead, the engine sighs as it settles into its path. The intercom hums, but it doesn't speak. Not yet. It lets the sound of the train do the talking. A long, low tone rides the night air. A signal light flashes once. For a moment, it paints the car in red, a soft pulse against the seats and the ceiling. Then it's gone again, swallowed up like a thought I never finished. A gust of wind slides across the windows, and it sounds almost like someone whispering just out of reach. The kind of sound that makes you turn, not because you're afraid, but because it feels polite to answer. I close my eyes for a moment, and when I open them again, I catch my reflection looking back. It's strange how a face can look like it belongs to someone else when the world around it moves this fast. At the far end of the car, a metal sign sways gently with the train's movement. It taps against its hook every few seconds, a patient little rhythm, steady as breathing. I stretch my legs out, letting the soles of my shoes rest against the base of the window. The cold seeps through, not unpleasant, just real. It grounds me in the way quiet places do. The lights overhead flicker, not the nervous kind, but the kind that comes from a long night spent doing what they were built to do. The hum is steady. The seats are still. For a moment, the world outside stops trying to be a place and just becomes a sound. I look out again. The landscape has changed without asking me to notice. There are shapes now, low hills, dark outlines of water, a single house light far in the distance. It feels like the kind of house where someone's been waiting a long time. A soft click sounds from the far door, and I know, without seeing, that the handle is waiting. This part of the train feels stretched, like a long breath that doesn't want to end. I stand slowly. The air here is cooler, a thin draft sneaking in through the seams. I walk to the end of the car. The door window frames a hallway beyond, a long, narrow corridor of light and shadow. The moment I step through, the sound changes. The loud, open rumble is replaced by a softer, closer hum. The air feels tighter here, like the train is holding itself a little more carefully. The sleeper corridor stretches out in front of me, lined with compartment doors on one side and narrow windows on the other. Most of the curtains are drawn. A thin line of warm light spills out from beneath one of them. Everything else is hushed. The floor beneath me creaks gently with each step, a quiet reminder that someone built this place to move. I keep my hands in my pockets, not out of cold, but because it feels like the right thing to do. Somewhere behind one of the doors, I hear the faint click of a latch, not opening, not closing, just a sound that says someone is still awake. The train hum threads through it all, steady and low. I pause at one of the small windows and look out. The night is still here, waiting patiently just beyond the glass. But it feels different now, thinner, as if the train is moving through a place where even the air is careful. A few steps ahead, a narrow bench is fixed to the wall. I sit down, feeling the quiet sink into me like warm water. The rail joints outside fall into a slower rhythm. Or maybe I've just learned how to listen to them properly. I lean my head back and stare down the length of the hallway. All I can see are doors, each identical, each waiting. Somewhere near the middle, a single light flickers, not nervously, just once, and then steadies again. The intercom wakes up, a soft rustle in the ceiling. "Almost there," it says. The voice is still my own, but quieter now, closer, like it's standing just behind the nearest door. I close my eyes for a moment, not because I need to, but because the world is soft here and it's allowed. The air smells faintly of fabric and old wood polish, the scent of something that's been kept alive longer than it expected. A faint shuffle comes from further down the corridor, not footsteps exactly, just weight shifting, someone changing their mind about moving. I stay where I am. The bench, the walls, the soft creak of the train, they've all agreed not to rush me. I can feel the speed outside, but in here, it's just a hum that smooths out the edges of thought. I open my eyes again. The door handles are silver, round, catching bits of light as the train rolls through the night. I can almost hear the breath of whoever waits on the other side. Or maybe it's just me. The intercom clicks softly. Not a word this time. Just a reminder that it's still there. I let out a slow breath and feel it linger in the narrow hallway. This part of the train feels older than the rest, like it's seen more nights like this one than it can count. The window glass carries the outline of my face back to me, stretched slightly by the movement. I press my fingertips to it and feel the cold bite through. The rails hum louder for a moment, as if to remind me we're still moving. There's a door at the very end of the corridor, just a shape in the half-light. It waits, patient, like all the other doors, but this one feels heavier somehow, like it's been listening longer than the rest. I stay seated, letting the night breathe through the train. The air holds the kind of silence that doesn't need to be broken. Somewhere outside, the world passes by, unseen and unbothered. I don't need to go further yet. The bench is enough. The hum is enough. The thought that there's another door ahead is enough. Is enough. The train slows in a way that feels different this time. It's not the gentle stretch before a stop I've felt before, but a hesitation, like someone changing their mind mid-sentence. The wheels whisper against the rails, and the hum under my feet shifts from steady to questioning. I open my eyes and find the window full of a platform that shouldn't be here. No name on the signs, no lights except the ones we brought with us. The train exhales a slow cloud into the night, and the mist hangs over everything like it's been waiting. The door at the end of the corridor unlocks with a quiet sigh. No announcement. No voice. Just the sound of something ready. I stand and make my way down the narrow hallway, fingers trailing the cool metal of the wall. The bench creaks behind me. A small farewell. The air between cars is cold enough to make me draw a breath a little deeper than I meant to. When I step out, the platform greets me with its silence. The rain is gone now. The air is still. Even the usual echo of engines and signals has disappeared. The lamps along the platform aren't lamps at all, just dull posts that glow faintly like they've forgotten why. Beyond them is nothing. No road, no station building, no outline of anything that wants to be found. I take a few steps forward. The gravel crunches softly beneath my shoes, a sound too sharp in a place this quiet. The train sits behind me, like a long shadow pretending to sleep. The sign above the platform is a rectangle of metal without a name. No letters, no numbers, just a pale shape holding a darker sky behind it. A cold wind moves through the space, brushing against my neck like a stranger who meant to speak, but decided not to. It carries nothing with it, not even the smell of distant towns or the wet scent of tracks. It's a wind that belongs nowhere. I walk further along the platform. The edges blur into darkness where the lamps stop pretending to be useful. There are no benches, no trash cans, no signs that people ever waited here. For a moment I think I hear footsteps, soft, careful, just behind me. But when I turn, the platform is empty. Only the train watches me, its windows bright against the dark. A quiet thing that doesn't want to explain itself. The air feels different here, thinner, like the world itself hasn't decided what it wants to be in this place. Somewhere down the platform, a door closes, or maybe the wind just found a seam to speak through. The sound is small, but it lingers. I stand in the middle of the platform and look at the blank sign again. The longer I stare, the more I'm convinced there's something written there. Not letters, exactly, just the shape of meaning that never bothered to learn the alphabet. I put my hands in my pockets and step backward slowly, 1 foot at a time. The train's warm light spills onto the platform, thin but steady. Behind that light is everything I've already passed through. In front of me is only a name that isn't there. I don't feel afraid. I just feel like I've stayed long enough. The step back into the carriage feels softer than I expect. The hum of the train folds around me like a coat. The door seals with a familiar sound, as if it was waiting for me to remember where I belonged. Inside, everything looks the same. The lamps glow with their quiet patience. The seats wait in their rows. But something has changed in the way the air moves, just slightly heavier, like someone's been breathing here while I was gone. I make my way down the aisle, the floor shifting gently with the motion of the train. The windows show the platform shrinking into the dark, its nameless sign becoming nothing at all. The train gathers speed, like it's glad to leave the place behind. The hum evens out, the rhythm settles, and the rails remember the tune they've been playing all night. I choose a seat near the back, one I haven't used before. The cushions size the same way they all do. Outside, the nameless station slips away without ever explaining itself. The intercom crackles softly. This time, no words, just a breath. Almost like it's listening. My hands rest on the armrests, and I feel the small tremors that belong to distance. The train has stopped pretending to go somewhere I can name. It's just going. I glance down the carriage. Empty seats, still air. A single overhead light hums a little too softly, like it knows more than I do. I close my eyes and listen. There's the sound of motion, steady and sure. The faint squeak of metal against metal. The heartbeat of a night that doesn't need to explain itself. Somewhere far ahead, a door closes, not loud, not close, just enough to remind me I'm not alone in this story, The corridor stretches ahead of me again, but something about it has changed. The rhythm beneath my feet is the same, but the walls feel narrower, closer. The windows let in less light. Or maybe the night outside has decided to take more for itself. I walk slowly, not because I'm uncertain, but because the air feels like it's paying attention. Each step creaks a little louder than it did before. The door at the far end waits with the quiet patience of something that already knows my answer. The hum in the ceiling seems to deepen as I approach, like a voice pressing itself against the edges of a whisper. The metal handle is colder than before. The sound of the train folds in on itself. I reach for the door. For a moment, I think I see my reflection in the window, but it's not quite my face. It tilts its head just a second too late. Or maybe I imagined that. The seal around the door breathes in as I pull it open. The world on the other side is dim. The lights overhead flicker once, then hold, as if trying to decide whether they should welcome me. This carriage is not like the others. The air is cooler here, and the hum is wrong. It's not the soft, steady tone the train has carried all night. It's lower, thicker, like the sound of something moving just beneath the floor. The windows are smaller. The seats are gone. What remains is a long, narrow space that feels like it belongs to no one. It smells faintly of old metal and damp fabric, like something has been waiting here a long time without leaving. I walk a few steps inside. The door behind me closes softly, but the sound is sharp in the silence. The walls seem to draw closer as I move, though I know they're not. A single light hangs above me, swaying gently, even though the train is steady. It throws shadows into the corners that don't quite behave. At the far end of the carriage, a door stands half open. Beyond it, the dark is thicker, heavy, like a mouth that hasn't decided whether to speak. The intercom crackles, but no words come. Just that breath again, the sound I've learned belongs to me when no one else is listening. I step forward, counting without meaning to. 5, 6, 7. Each step feels a little heavier than the last. Somewhere to my right, a shape shifts. Not large, not close, just the kind of sound that makes the skin at the back of your neck remember how to listen. I turn. There's nothing. Only the faint outline of the wall breathing with the train. I keep moving. The low hum builds in my chest now, vibrating the space between my ribs like the train is learning my heartbeat. Or I'm learning its. The half-open door at the end of the carriage waits like it's been waiting all night. I reach it without remembering the last few steps. The space beyond is darker still, a tunnel of shadows that swallows the light at the threshold. The moment I step through, the world folds in. The sound changes. The steady rhythm of the wheels becomes something else. The air grows heavier. The light vanishes behind me like a curtain closing at the end of a play. This isn't a normal part of the train. It doesn't smell like the others. It doesn't even feel like it belongs to the same journey. The walls hum as if they're made of something alive. The tunnel stretches ahead, if it even is a tunnel. It's a shape more than a place. The sound is low, like the train is whispering into its own chest. I run my fingers along the wall, and it feels warmer than it should. A pulse somewhere inside. The echo of the rails stretches on and on, as though the train is moving through something that doesn't end. I keep walking, though I can't say why. There's no light to follow, no voice calling, just the weight of movement. Somewhere far off, there's a single sound, metal shifting against metal, like a door sliding into place. The kind of sound that closes a circle. I think of the station with no name, the blank sign, the platform that waited without waiting. It feels connected somehow, though I couldn't say how if someone asked me. The intercom wakes. This time it doesn't hesitate. "Next car," the voice says. But now it's not just like mine. It is mine. The words echo down the tunnel, stretching into places I can't see. I stand very still and listen until even the echo forgets what it was trying to say. I take another step forward, and another. The sound beneath my feet doesn't change, but everything else does. The tunnel doesn't end the way a tunnel should. There's no sudden burst of light, no screech of brakes, no change in rhythm. It just loosens. The darkness fades in slow layers, like fog pulling away from water. The low hum softens too. What was once deep and heavy now feels like the world breathing again. Somewhere ahead, I can hear the rails beginning to sing differently, gentler, higher, like a familiar melody remembering its own name. The walls give way to windows once more, and through them the night has begun to pale. The stars are gone now, replaced by a soft wash of light at the edge of the horizon. It isn't quite morning yet. It's the hour when the world decides whether to wake up or keep dreaming. The train slows with a quiet grace, a sound like a long breath let out carefully. I place my hand against the glass. It's warmer now. The cold of the night has finally lifted its hand from the world. Outside, the land stretches open. There's no town, no platform, no station sign. Just pale fields and soft light, as though the train has arrived somewhere that isn't a place at all, but a pause between two thoughts. The intercom stirs softly. No crackle this time, no distortion. Just a voice, my voice. "We're here." The words don't echo. They settle gently into the space around me, like snow on quiet ground. The door at the far end opens on its own. No hiss, no mechanical sigh. Just the soft sound of something that's been waiting patiently. I walk slowly down the aisle. The carriage is empty, as if it's been empty all along. The lamps above are still glowing, but they're tired now, their light thin and kind. Each step feels lighter than the last, not because the train has changed, but because I have. The hum that followed me through the night has become something else, an almost silence that feels like a hand resting gently on my shoulder. When I step through the final door, the world is waiting. The air outside is cool, but no longer sharp. The sky is pale gold at the edges, fading into soft gray. Somewhere, birds are waking, their calls distant and careful. The grass moves just enough to remind me that wind still exists. There's no station here, no platform, no name, just a single stretch of track disappearing into the light behind me and the mist ahead. I take a few steps away from the train. Gravel crunches softly beneath my shoes. The sound feels final, not like an ending, but like a door being closed gently by someone who cares. I turn to look back. The train sits quiet and still, its windows reflecting the dawn. For the first time all night, I can see my reflection clearly. It's only me now. No delay, no tilt, no second guessing. The intercom hums once more, but it isn't speaking to me anymore. It's breathing for itself. I don't know where this place is. I don't know if I was ever meant to arrive. But I know this. The night carried me here, and for the first time in a long time, that feels like enough. I take one last look at the train. The air is still, the light soft, and somewhere deep inside the rails, a sound lingers, a low note, steady and kind, like the last line of a song that doesn't need to be sung again. Then the world begins to brighten, and the night train is gone.